Welcome to our nature journal entry on looking for signs of spring. Now, I don't know about where you live, but some of the signs of spring that I've seen around that I might want to think about or discuss in a group, if I'm with a group, I might think about things I might expect to see before we even start anything. So some of the things I've noticed just walking around are different flowers coming up. I've noticed a lot of the trees have blossoms or they have leaf buds. I've noticed even some of the covers of the leaf buds and how they're fuzzy. I've noticed some of the moss is greener because it's rained a lot more. Those are all plant things. Other things might be what's going on with animals. So some animal signs. What are some animal signs of spring? It's a little less obvious than plants. But I know, because we've studied soil a lot lately, that there's a lot more happening closer to the surface underground. So I might expect to see more insects, like beetles or ants. I've seen some flying insects around lately. It'd be awesome if I saw a butterfly today. I might see just evidence of animals. Maybe I'll see a mole tunnel. Maybe I'll see some eggs or eggshells around, or maybe I'll see the actual animals like the birds flying around doing some of their mating calls or behaviors. There are tons of different kinds of signs of spring out there, and they're not just about animals and plants. You might see puddles. You could see a thermometer that tells you it's getting warm. You might see that your shadow looks a little different, a different time of day. So it's really a pretty broad and there's a lot of potential for creativity in this entry. I apologize, you've just been looking at a blank notebook paper all this time, but now we're going to get started. So I'm going to put my heading up at the top because every journal entry that I do, I want to make sure that I have the date. If this is a scientific observation, then I'm going to need to know when I made these so that I can keep track of my observations over time. This is happening at Holler Creek, so I want the location is Holler Creek. Obviously, you'll have a different location. And I want to include the weather. We always include the weather because that has a big impact on what it's going to be like outside and what I might notice. So today it is sunny and warm, and I don't know the exact temperature, but I'm going to guess that it's about 65 outside. So I guess that's why I put warm. A lot of kids like to draw a little bit in here about what the weather looks like, and I encourage them to do that too. I have kids that like to put a little location icon like you'll see on Google, that kind of thing. And I don't usually use Sharpie. I've never used Sharpie for a journal entry, but I am here just so that you can see it better. So now that we have our header up here, and let's see, my title is going to be Signs of Spring. Keeping it simple, Signs of Spring. Now I got to think about how am I going to set this up? A lot of our journal entries will do something like a chart where we can write notes of different kinds in different places. Or sometimes we just kind of go out there and do sketches of things that we find and try to label them. Today, I'm going to try to do a map. I'm going to map out what I see and where all these signs are because I'm expecting to find a lot of them. So I need to figure out, where am I on my map? I think I'm going to use maybe this much for my map. I'm going to leave the bottom for all my notes. Trying something different today. So I'm pretty far away from this, but down here, there's a creek. And over here, let's see, there's two ponds. I'm going to go kind of face in between the two ponds. I'm going to call this the new pond. It's not very new, but I guess it's newer than the old pond, which is over here. So those are important parts of my map. And we've talked a lot about maps, making keys, picking out important landmarks that you want to include so that you can orient yourself and know where you are. But I think this is enough for me to get started. So I'm planning to just do the area between these ponds. And I might go on the other side of the pond, but I'm not going to go way up this hill that's beyond the creek. I'm not going to go over towards our house or over to the school buildings or anything that's off of this map. I think it's good. Whoa. It's good to have a little bit of boundaries with this. So I'm going to say we're going to get about 15 or 20 minutes. You need to take your materials in your pencil pouch or whatever you're carrying them in today, and you're going to go out and make some observations. Now, I'm going to make my first observation before we even leave because I want you to see what we're going to do here. So I know that there is a walnut tree right about here. Walnut tree. And there's tons of walnuts all around. But right here, I've noticed there's crocuses. And I'm going to put a 1 there. And when I get to the crocuses, maybe I'll do a better drawing. But there's my crocus. All right. So there's a whole patch of them. But I'm going to make it so that I have kind of a key down here. I put a number 1. So I'm matching a number 1 to down here. And I'm going to write crocuses are up. And I'm going to add a lot more detail to that when I go out and actually look at it and see what I notice. Maybe I'll smell it. Maybe I will use my magnifying glass to look up close and see if I can label the parts or notice any of the parts. But I'm going to work on that when I get outside. So this is what I'm going to do, and I'm guessing I'm going to get maybe 5 or 10 notices. This is one of the things where we get to walk all around. We don't usually do that, but we're going to get to walk all around this mapped area and try to find some notices. So I'm going to do that, and you can map your area, and we can share our signs of spring when we get back.